Hi, I'm Sherrod, and welcome to Top 3.
This is Sherrod's Top 3. Top 3.
Hi, my name is Sherrod, and welcome to Sherrod's Top 3. Listen.
We got brand new music.
Yo, what does Len mean?
These are auxiliary sends, and I send it to and then I bring it back to a couple of inputs over here. Yeah, and these the green ones up here, the compressors. Okay. This is the EQ section, and it's Bluetooth compatible too.
You mean for Bluetooth speakers?
Nah, you could bring a piece of equipment that functions off of Bluetooth, bring it up through the board.
Okay, all right.
You know, so it's like, you know, like if you rehearsing with your group and you got your music on your phone, I want y'all to practice along with boom, right?
Get out the cord or nothing.
Nothing, just Bluetooth right through here.
Easy.
Yeah.
What channel Bluetooth come out? Just come out the main out?
It's on channel 20, 21, and 22. Okay. And
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Bluetooth channel.
Yeah, Bluetooth channel.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And then, you know, it's got phantom power and the whole nine.
Right. It's a nice little piece, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, you know, they got a 16 track version of this.
That's the 505.
Yeah, that's the 505.
That's the first drum machine I ever touched. Right there.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I had this shit doing so many crazy things.
I gotta send that to my man.
Yeah, no doubt. This drum machine, and then when I figured out how to MIDI it, I was MIDI it through a keyboard, man.
All right, listen. This is
The Roland TR-505. You know, rhythm composer. You know, it's got some great drum sounds in it. You know, if you run it through a board, you can EQ them and add effects and get some nice sound. And you know, it was real easy to program, man. And then, you know, you could, you know, program a whole song and be doing your drum fills and everything with it. And you know, once I MIDI'd it,
I actually remember you getting busy on this machine.
oh.
I've seen you get busy on this machine.
Yo, and then I had it MIDI through a keyboard to get different drum sounds. It was really crazy.
You were way.
Yeah.
I was still probably junior high, and just my man had this, and he used to be like, he used just to bring it to the crib.
Yeah.
And we'd just be like, yo, look at all the crazy beats. Was trying to do sucker MCs, trying to do whatever, joints like that. And so that was the first joint I ever programmed. I mean, my beats was kind of real basic, like just a kick in the snare, a little hat, right? Hit the drum fill, bang, 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 bang. But that was the first. This is the first drum machine that I ever physically touched and ever created anything on.
Wait, E, please. Tell me 3 things that this unit can do.
Oh, this unit, if you have real drum programming skills, you can make it sound like somebody playing, man.
So that's 1.
That's 1.
Give me 2.
The sounds on it, you know, it's a Roland 505. You know, it has its own sounds that was made for this drum machine, so you're not going to get that anywhere but this drum machine. Well, I guess now with all the ways you can get sounds off of things, you know, and download stuff. But this is the original here. And
3.
3, I like the MIDI, the MIDI capabilities.
What MIDI? What is that?
That's
Like a young person would be like, what? What are you
Musical
talking
instrument
about?
digital interface.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a jack on the back that you use to connect to other instruments, so the instruments can talk to each other.
Was this one of the first MIDI machines?
Nah, this wasn't one of the first ones. But this with MIDI, it's like I would program my drum patterns in here and do like a song format, and I could trigger other instruments to play in time with this drum machine. So if I program a keyboard to do a bass line or something, you could trigger that bass line right from this keyboard. I mean, right from this drum machine.
Well, I'm here with the president of hip hop, and I'm just curious. I hear you was a fan of this unit too. What did you like about the unit?
I tell you this much. I like the fact that I just was able to touch a drum machine at that point. And I really didn't get into, my man was into production, and that was the only drum machine he had, and that any of us had, the only piece of music equipment any of us had, and he used to program crazy beats off of this. And he was the first person, you know, in our crew that had beats and started, you know, cutting records and stuff like that. And I didn't get into production until maybe 15 years later. You know, when it was Ensonic at the Ensonic ASR.
Yeah, that was a good
EPS
machine.
16 Plus was actually my first. So there was a gap of about 10 to 15, about at least 10 years between that. But this was the first machine that I ever touched, and that you know, the cats in my crew was rhyming to and everything. I didn't rhyme. I didn't do anything too much except make beats with my, you know, I was the drum. I was the desk on the lunch table.
Are you that dude?
Yeah, I was that
Yeah.
dude, exactly. And then I kind of fell away from it, and you know, called me back a few years later, and now.
And now,
Exactly.
so Eric, can you tell me a hip hop record that you know was made with this machine that people might know?
I can't think of right off the top of my head, because you know, it's just so many different varieties of drum machines that have been made. And like I said, with MIDI altering sounds, you know, it could have been a 505, but it sounded like something else because they ran something else with it. So I couldn't exactly tell you what was used with hip hop records, but I know a lot of house music records was made with this. And Roland had the 707 drum machine, which was a little bigger than this, but basically had the same drum sounds. And Marshall Jefferson and a lot of them cats used that on their records. And this was the first drum machine I ever had, the Dr. Rhythm DR110.
Rhythm. Ooh.
Yeah, I used to rock parties with this. You know, I used to program my beats
Yeah,
and
this is a
stuff,
classic,
and then,
yeah.
you know, take it to a party. And when it was the right time in our show, I would you know, cut the turntables down and then cut the drum machine on, and then the MCs do their routines, and we kill them because, you know, nobody had, you know.
What years was this?
That's the first Dr. Rhythm.
I
right?
had this like in 84, 83, 84, 85, around that time.
Who made Dr. Rhythm?
This is another by Boss, which is a subdivision of Roland, I believe.
And obviously you were proficient at it.
Oh, I wore this one out too.
And give me top three. What top three things you thought made this a nifty device?
Oh, it was just, you know, since it was like cracking my cherry as far as having a drum machine, the first one, it was like being able to make my own beats with a drum machine. And, you know, and this kind of sounded like the 808, you know, and, you know, Bam had the 808 when I had this. And, you know, the first time I heard the 808 coming through his system in Bronx River, I was like, damn, you know, that 808 drum, man, coming through them speakers. And then, you know, then having this, and, you know, the kick drum on this sounded almost as good as the 808.
So would that be your two thing you liked about the unit, was the fact that you can get loud booming sounds from it?
Get loud booming sounds and being able to program it, and then you can play live by tapping the keys on top.
So three would be the ability to play live.
Yeah.
Interesting. If sounds and drum machines and equipment had a Hall of Fame, the 808 would definitely be
Oh yeah. You see that at the front
inducted.
door.
Yeah, it would be inducted. Why do you think, and what impact, and why does the 808 have such a storied history?
Because of the, I believe basically because of the sounds, and being able to program what you wanted to do. You know, and that gives you a lot of freedom right there. You know, once you can tell a machine to do what you want it to do, you know, your imagination is the only limit.
Since you've been producing records for some time, how would you say that sampling changed the game?
Well, it's funny because in the beginning I wasn't really crazy about sampling, because just being a lover of music and knowing that there was a stamp on every recorded piece of music that said, "Do not use without permission," and blah 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 blah. And then you got guys just running out and taking the music and sampling it. But then again, I was like, but it was good for hip hop too, because that's what hip hop was us taking those records and finding spots on it that nobody else would play, And then, you know, when sampling came along, you would take those records and flip them and just turn it into a whole nother thing, man. So, it's, you know, sampling is a beautiful thing.
What was your first sampler?
I'll show you that too, because I never really had a sampler. I used to, you know, go to studios and rent, you know, and use their equipment. But, you know, for home production, I used to sample with this bad boy. It's all dusty now, you know.
And what is that?
This is a Casio SK505, and you know, it's got you know, it's a cheesy little keyboard. But what you could do is you could input you know, your mixer into this, and you could play a record and record it, and you could play it back on the key. But since it had such short recording time, I would play records on 33 on 45, sample it, and then play it on a longer key to get a longer space to sample.
Which is pretty genius.
Yeah.
You know, I know that people love, there's a producer from Slum Village that people are so fond of, Jay Dilla. And I noticed he was able to just innovate and come up with a sound that people to this day will associate with his sound.
Yeah.
What would you say allows someone to create their own sound? When someone says they have their own sound, what is that?
Well, it's something that comes from within you, really, because you know, that's the beauty of live music. Because you know, when you get a group of people that play together, only them guys are going to sound like those guys playing together. And it's the same thing as far as production. Your process, your thinking process, your production process, and making this thing materialize is not going to be the same as the next man. Even though y'all might be going for the same goal, it's never going to come out the same way twice.
So we discussed Jay Dilla. Let's talk about someone who you're fond with, you came up with, you've been involved with his life somewhat. Can you describe to me the Pete Rock sound?
Well, I know Pete always liked soul music, man. Pete's like he's like me. We like Stax Records, you know, that kind of stuff. James Brown, you know, I was always jealous because Pete went to see James when James came to Mount Vernon. He played not too far from where we live, because Pete lived like 2 blocks from me, and his moms took him. You know, that was back in the days, you know, when I'm just getting out of high school. I had no money. You know, even for the little bit they was charging to get in that club, I didn't have money to go see James, you know, so I missed that night. But everybody else went, and Pete got to meet James there. So, you know, Pete's always been into soul music, man. You know, Stax, you know, that kind of thing, man.
And it seems like he's always been able to find the great horns.
Yeah, well, that's part of the funk, man. If you know, gotta have horns, man. It's like mandrill. You know, it's like, can you picture mandrill without horns, or P-funk without horns? You know, horns adds, you know, it gives you that punch.
Word to Maceo.
Yeah, word up.
All right. So we've been having this interesting talk as far as engineering tools used to make music. As far as samplers, what would you say are the top 3 samplers that are out there?
Well, right now the Akai MPC, whatever you can find on MPC, that's going to do the job.
What does MPC stand for?
I'm not sure. You know, I've never had one.
I think it stands for must pay cash.
Yeah. I can't argue with that, because that's the only way you're going to get your hands on one.
Music Production Center.
Yeah, right. Oh, Music Production Center. Okay, cool.
President of hip hop in the building.
I learn something new every day, man. You know, but you know, when I was doing records back, you know, when sampling first came into it, you know, the big machine was the Akai S900. You know, I used to store your samples on floppy disks. You know, like, you know, now all of that stuff is out the window, man.
Tell me another unit.
The SP12.
People used to rock that SP12.
Yeah, you remember we used to go by Vance Wright's studio. He had an SP12, and Pete was famous for having the SP12.
Let's talk about the SP12.
What
made it a unique piece of equipment?
Well, you know, it's like it had its own sound too, because the way it was crafted. You know, and you know, and when you sample music through it, you know, the way the rate of sampling and everything, that all plays a factor into the sounds, and the amount of time you have to sample and how you can chop it up. And you know, every machine sounds different. You can sample the same record on 3 different formats, and it'll come out different on every format.
On that note, can you say historically what was a cheap whack sampler that, you know, you just hated to use because it was ganky or it never did what it was supposed to do?
I don't know, 'cause I never been on no cheap shit like that. You know, we always try to get our hands. You know, if we didn't own it, we tried to go somewhere where we could have access to using professional grade equipment. You know, I used to do my demos with little stuff like this at the house. And so when I got to a place that had that kind of equipment, I already knew what I was going to do. I just had to execute and lay it.
So tell me a piece of equipment you would dream about. Like, damn, if I could touch, if I could use this, I could do my thing.
Oh, if I had an SSL board, man, I'd love to have an SSL board, man.
All right, what is an SSL board? Break it down.
It's a real 24-track recording board. Solid State Logic makes it. You know, they come in varieties. You know, but I would love to have an SSL, man.
Well, speaking of boards, seems like you've been getting pretty busy on your board right there. Let's talk about that board. What is that?
This is the TapScan Model 12. I've only had it for a little bit over a month and a half. I'm still learning it because I'm from the days of analog recording, so digital is a whole new thing for me. Like, you know, I gotta learn. Like, I don't have to hit my recording levels as hard like when I used to record. When we used to record on analog tape, because you'd have to get a real good signal on the tape, you know, and saturate the tape to get a good sound. And you don't have to do that with digital, so I'm learning.
Well, let's stay on digital, because as I go around your studio here, you have a serious record collection.
Oh, no doubt.
Calculating here. What would you say is the difference between vinyl sound and digital sound? Because you know vinyl is coming back.
Yeah.
A new generation is becoming fans of it. What would you say is the difference between the sound of vinyl and the sound of digital?
Well, I did this comparison when digital first started becoming a thing. I took the James Brown Big Payback album to a studio I used to work at. It was a full 24-track studio, and they had Yuri monitors and they had Yamaha monitors, and I played the James Brown the James Brown Big Payback album from vinyl. I played it, you know, over the system, and then I compared it to a James Brown CD, and right away it was like there wasn't enough punch on that CD to compare it to the vinyl. The vinyl sounded so much warmer and had so much more kick to it than, you know, the CD sounded kind of thin. And digital to me always sounded thin. I mean, you could get a good sound, you know, you could make it sound loud and everything, but it don't have the warmth of analog.
Okay, well that was a great breakdown of the difference between the two mediums, and we're going to close out with this. You know a lot of producers. Let me hear your top 3 producers and why.
Well, I have to say my #1 producer is George Clinton. I mean, shit, 50 years of all the stuff that he's done musically, man, and in the studio. He's my #1 producer.
Can you tell me a George Clinton innovation?
Oh, that dog. Well, I don't know if he came up with it, but I know he didn't come up with it. But when they started doing backwards recordings in the early '80s, man, they was, you know, taking the tape and flipping it and doing drum sounds, you know, recording the drum line forward and flipping it over and playing it backwards, you know, like on Atomic Dog. And then, you know, there's records they had bass lines going backwards and stuff. To me, that just blew my mind, man. I used to do it with my TapScan 244, because, you know, it was analog tape. You could flip the tape. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this digital shit. you can't flip the card like that. But that was always.
If you put the SD card backwards, you're gonna break your shit.
Yeah, exactly, man, you know. But to me, that was always innovative. The stuff they used to do in the studio, which came from another favorite producer of mine was Jimi Hendrix.
Talk about it.
Because Jimmy, you know, all the ideas he had with his guitar playing and the sounds he had in his head, you know, the recording industry wasn't even set up to record what this man wanted to do. So he kept pushing people to design stuff and come up with better ways to record and better equipment. You know, he had the first 24-track studio because he kept saying, this is not enough for me to do what I got to do. So he had Electric Ladyland. He had the first 24-track board. So he was that's my other producer. And then Junie Morrison.
Not familiar.
Junie was on with the Ohio Players. You know, he did Funky Worm. You know, it's like, and you know, Junie was a hell of a songwriter. And, you know, you could give Junie a piece of music, and he'd come back the next day and just totally flip it into something that you didn't even think it could be. You know, he was one of them kind of cats. You know, Plus he can play all kind of instruments, and then go in the studio and lay his vocals down and do all the vocals, sing lead, sing background, sing ad-libs, do all by himself, and do a whole album like that. Not too many cats could do that.
Right, but you can, though.
Well, I don't know about singing on the podcast.
Well, hey, man, before we close out, we understand you might have a new piece of music that you want to introduce the world to. We may give them a taste of it. What's the name of it? And, we'll swing it to that.
Well, I'm coming back with some reality rap, hip hop. Because hip hop used to be considered the CNN of the ghetto. We've gotten away from that, family. What's up with that? Now it's like we got hip hop is turning into a lot of it is turned into the Bamboozle channel. So I want to make my statement and do some reality rap like Public Enemy, the Ghetto Boys, that kind of stuff, man. And I'm working on a project with my man, Mr. Kevin Harrington. He's supplying me with the beats. I'm doing rhymes and scratching. I ain't even gonna tell y'all what it is. You're gonna have to wait till Black History Month to hear it. But you're gonna hear it, alright?
Alright, well, yo, thanks. That's Eric J, the funky one, in the building. Say peace, E.
Peace.
And we out.
This should be played at high volume.
We have perpetuated this bullshit and killed our own community.
Gentlemen. Some of y'all are tripping, like a record skipping. I open the door and watch people flipping. You can't be serious, I'm not delirious. If you see what I see, you be furious. It's time for a big powwow. Looking around, we're all Detroiters now. You fell into the habit of trying to be democratic. 60 years later, you got the same static. Sound the alarm, no time to be calm. The clock is ticking all the time bomb. You wanted civil rights, but you never been civil. Out of your mouth, you're popping all that dribble. Too many suit and ties are getting paid off, while regular mugs like me are getting laid off. I'm more than willing to carry the load. Brothers and sisters, it's time to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? Time to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? Time to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? Time to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, do you hear me? Time to stay on code.
Right now in this country, it's being ran by political lobby groups, super PACs, people with much more money than you.
A tit for tat, a prig pro quo. Everywhere you go, it's a minstrel show. Are you hiding behind Biden? Stop crying, black people looking up, and we are flying under the radar like the black market. I know my melanin makes me a target, so lace up your boots and button up your shirts. For this madness to cease, you gotta put in work. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? I'm trying to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? I'm trying to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? I'm trying to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, do you hear me? I'm trying to stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me? Stay on code. Yo, y'all hear me? Stay on code. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, do you hear me? Stay on code.
Affirmative action is always myriad of terms. Civil rights. Stop and think about the term civil rights. All rights are civil. Have you ever heard of an uncivil right?
I, my black body, as a young African-American man, is a commodity for the business industry.
It's a wonder you don't go completely mad. What you gotta do to get the bag? A slave to a system that has no guts. Got a nigga by his nuts. I don't care if you can't get with this. I'm always gonna handle my business. Do it for the wife, do it for the kids, homie. Ain't nothing you can show me The system has a big breach, so you better impeach that son of a beast. Ha, it's uneven, and I check the score as I drove through Baltimore. Can y'all believe all the goddamn damage caused by a motherfucking chicken sandwich? I keep my system in crank mode. It's time to stay on code.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me?
Time to stay on code.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me?
Time to stay on code.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, yo, y'all hear me?
Time to stay on code.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, do you hear me?
Time to stay on code.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
This is Curtis Sherrod's Top 3.
And I never do this, but Priest, come here for a second. I know you're a big Laker fan. I hate the Lakers, but you know what? I'm gonna give you your props. Give me your top 3 Lakers of all time.
Top three Lakers of all time. Is it easy though? All right, so without question, I'm gonna leave the most the top at the last. I'm going to start with Magic Johnson. Okay, can I get that from Magic Johnson? All right, I am going to, because it's the new Laker era, I'm gonna have to put LeBron James at number 2. All right, and I gotta put him. I gotta put him there. I gotta put him there. I gotta put him there. All right, and the most important, Kareem. Most important, Kareem.
All right. Yo, Priest. You know what though? Can I get some bars?
Bars. Okay. Bars. James Worthy, the pressure man. I could have put him there. But it seems like when he played, everybody else wasn't really prepared. Coming down the court, he throw it up from here or there. And I'm going to leave it like that so we can get back to this. Yeah.
That's Priest. Yo, Sabil, come here. Top 3 Knickerbockers. Top 3 New York Knicks of all time. Top 3.
Walt Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Bernard King.